What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper, and back with another video. This video is a very important topic, and it's one that I think a lot of people think about, especially if they're preppers. I had a couple of comments, people asking me, how many guns you should have, for SHTF, and in my opinion, I like the keep it simple, stupid principle, which is KISS, keep it simple, stupid, the KISS principle. And I like to keep things as simple as possible. And for me, I like to have less guns than more guns. Obviously, I have a lot of firearms, but when it comes to SHTF, I think less guns is better because you're going to have more time to practice with them, and more time to train with them. And I think a lot of guys that are new to prepping get really caught up in the firearms aspect of prepping, and they forget about other important aspects of prepping that are actually more important than firearms. I think a lot of guys, they end up spending thousands and thousands of dollars on guns, but they don't have any food storage, they don't have any batteries, they don't have any other supplies for medical or sanitation or water storage, water purification, things like that, heating and power generation. So it's important as preppers not to get caught up too much in the firearms aspect, because there's a lot more important preps than firearms, and you really don't need that many firearms. I think a lot of preppers especially new preppers, guys that are new to prepping, they just want to spend all their money on guns. And I personally know people that, that are new to prepping and new to firearms, and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on guns, but they have very limited ammunition for all those guns. They have very limited time to train with all of those guns, and they have no preps besides, they have zero preps. All they have is, 5 or 10 rifles that they just bought and are sitting in a safe somewhere, or sitting in the corner of a closet collecting dust, and they don't have anything else. They don't have food storage. They don't have water or anything else. It's just, for them, it's all about, I gotta get this gun, and it's all about getting the latest and greatest firearm. But really, a lot of these people that are obsessed with firearms, the newcomers, they don't know enough about hand loading, they don't know enough about ballistics, they don't know about bullet construction. Firearms is not just going out, buying an AR-15 and buying yourself a Glock and then calling it a day. I mean, firearms there's so much involved. You have to know about ballistics. You have to know about, basic understanding of different cartridges, rifle cartridges, pistol cartridges, shotgun shells. You have to understand how they work. And, so for me, I think you only need, if I was to give a recommendation of how many guns you should have, I would just say 1 rifle, 1 shotgun, and 1 pistol. And you could even go 2 rifles, 1 shotgun, and 1 pistol. So for the rifle, you're going to want to have a tactical rifle or some type of rifle. It doesn't have to be an AR-15, but it should be a rifle that you're going to expect to use in tactical situations, out to 200 yards. And then your second rifle, which is optional, you're going to want to use your second rifle for longer range engagements. If, let's say, you need to reach out to beyond 200 yards, because in my opinion, up to 200 yards is what I would consider the limit of a tactical engagement. If you're dealing with a normal threat, an armed threat, it's generally up to 200 yards is what you can expect. And if you want to go beyond 200 yards, then you can get yourself a long-range precision rifle. So I'll give you guys an example of some of my weapons here. So here I have a 45-70 lever gun. This was, I've had this gun for years and I'm very good with it. I can hand load this rifle up to heavy, high power, high pressure rounds with it for bears, or I could, get low pressure rounds, which are good for anti-personnel. You've seen this rifle on my channel before, but basically, I'll just show you guys. It's clear. There's nothing in the chamber. This would be an example of a rifle that you could use in tactical situations. Now, obviously, a 45-70 lever gun is not as good as as an AR-15. I definitely recommend an AR-15 for your main tactical rifle. But if you live in a state that restricts AR-15s like I do in New York State, you can get yourself a lever gun. A lever gun's a good alternative. Or you can get yourself a nice bolt action rifle as well, with low power scope, maybe up to like 9 power, 3 to 9 power, or 2 to 7 power scope, maybe a bolt gun in 3006 or something like that would also work for your tactical rifle. The thing with the tactical rifle that you need to keep in mind is that it's going to be for short range engagements, like I said, up to 200 yards. You may even have to use it 25 or 50 yards or less in close quarters. So keep that in mind as far as your optics and your sighting system, whether you're going to go with an optic or whether you're going to go with iron sights. You have to be able to use the rifle effectively at close ranges, and I would say max 200 yards. So you need to make sure if you're buying a scope or some type of an optic, if it's, let's say, a red dot sight, or if it's a traditional scope, that you don't have too much magnification. And with the red dot sight, you want to make sure that the dot is not too big. I would recommend a 2 MOA size dot, or max 4 MOA for your red dot. But I think a 2 MOA dot for your main tactical rifle is ideal, because with the 2 MOA dot, you're going to be able to hit targets out to 200 yards, and the dot isn't going to cover up too much. And you're still going to be able to use that small dot up close. And then for your scopes, I probably wouldn't go more than 9 power on the high end, and then I would probably want to start at 2 or 3 on the low end. So like this scope right here is a 2 to 7 power, and it's a scout scope, so it's mounted forward of the receiver. And 2 to 7 power, in my opinion, is a really good range for a tactical rifle. The 2 power is pretty much just like your normal eyesight, and then the 7 power, you'll be able to hit targets out to 200 yards with this. So you need your tactical rifle, which you're going to expect to use at close, very close to medium ranges. Like I said, you may have to use it at 5 or 10 yards, and you may have to use it out to 200 yards. So that's your main tactical rifle, which ideally is some type of an AR-15 or semi-automatic rifle in a common caliber, like a 308 or a 5.56, something like that. If you can't get that, then like I said, a lever gun is a really good option. Just like this 45-70 here with the low power loads, I can easily use this against people, human threats. This works well against human threats, with the low power loads. And then for your optional second rifle, you may want to look at something like a long range bolt gun. Now this is not finished yet, but this is going to be my 300 Win Mag precision rifle, that I'm working on right now. And I hope you guys could see it up close. I've showed this on my channel before. This is a CZ550 receiver, and I'm having a barrel made. So this is just the beginnings of it, but once this is done, this will be my long range rifle. And with the long range rifle, you want to be able to hit out to 500 yards or 800 yards with that one. and that could be used for hunting, and that can be used for precision fire. If for whatever reason you need the ability to shoot longer distances with precision fire. But I would say that's more optional, because long range shooting out past 200 yards is not for everybody. It takes a lot of, there's a big learning curve to get good at it. You have to learn about ballistics. You have to learn about a lot of different things, you know, so I wouldn't say that that's for everybody, but you definitely want to have a tactical rifle that you're going to use in close to medium ranges, which would be your main tactical rifle. And then you're going to want one shotgun. This is just for me, it's a Remington 870 with a flashlight mount on it. Okay, the flashlight, I can use it in tactical situations if I have to light up an area or blind somebody, you know, breaking into my home or something like that. You know, the tactical shotgun is critical for preppers. You need to have something that you can use at close ranges, which is what the tactical shotgun is for. Notice I have a short barrel on this. This is a 18.5-inch barrel with a heat shield. The heat shield lets me manipulate the firearm without burning my hand after shooting a few rounds, because shotguns have very thin barrels, because the shotgun's shells are really thick, so they can't put a lot of steel around the barrel, so the barrel will get hot very quickly. You know, so you want to have a heat shield on your shotgun, I would say, you know, and then a flashlight is critical as well. And you know, you can pick whatever brand you like. I have a Remington 870, but you know, Mossberg is a good one too. You know, a pump action shotgun, in my opinion, is the best choice because the pump action is more reliable than a semi-auto. This is the purpose of this shotgun here is for extreme close range engagements. We're talking about max 25 to 50 yards. You know, like this would be your inside of your home type of weapon that you would use inside of your home. You know, let's say there's an SHTF situation, you know, you would keep this by your bedside, and this would be your close range weapon. And the reason why is because this has shotguns have buckshot, and buckshot, you don't have to aim it. You can pretty much point, you know, in the general direction of your enemy, and it will spray a bunch of pellets, you know, so there's a little bit more of a forgiveness in terms of how accurate you have to be, you know, versus a rifle or a pistol. You know, you have to aim it, you know, pretty accurately. And if you're tired, if you're under stress, if you have an adrenaline dump, it's going to be hard for you to, you know, properly aim that pistol or aim that rifle. You know, with the shotgun, you have a little bit more forgiveness. Just going to turn a light on here. You have a little bit more forgiveness with the shotgun, you know. So if, let's say there's a home invasion situation after SHTF and some marauders or some local looters are breaking in, this is the best choice inside of your home, and you know, inside of 25 yards with buckshot or slugs. This is a great choice because you're not going to need to like I said, aim as well, you know, and you could pretty much just point in a general direction. And you know, with the shotgun, you know, I'd recommend some type of night sights. On this one, I have night sights on the rear ghost ring, and on my front sight here, I have also tritium dots. You know, tritium is critical for being able to shoot at night, and then obviously a light on it. You know, this way I can, you know, illuminate an area, you know, if I'm clearing out my house or whatever, you know, or checking out something, you know, the light is critical. And the flashlight will also blind the intruder, you know, so if somebody's in there, inside your basement or something, you flash them with it, and, you know, it will blind them and give you a second to, you know, get your gun up or whatever. So, you know, you want to have a short barrel on your shotgun, 18 inches max, or 18.5, I think is federal law. I have to check, but I think 18.5 is the shortest you can go on a shotgun. But, you know, the short barrel makes it handy around the house. You know, if you're going through hallways and you're clearing rooms or whatever, you know, you can easily swing it around without knocking it into a wall or something. And also, I personally keep my sling off of my shotgun because this is primarily used for home defense or inside of close ranges. So, you know, having the sling is just another thing that will catch on something. And, you know, if you're moving around in your house, you can catch the sling on, you know, on a lamp or a vase or, you know, a doorknob or something like that. And the last thing you want to do is give away your position by knocking something over, or, you know, have your sling catch on a doorknob or something like that. And when you're trying to bring the gun up, you know, to your firing position, it's going to be stuck or something like that. So I personally don't like a sling on my shotgun, you know. So shotgun is the next weapon. And then finally, you're going to want to have some type of a pistol. And I personally like my 44 Magnum revolver. And, you know, the purpose of the pistol is for extreme close ranges, less than 25 yards, max 50 yards. And the pistol is something that you're going to want to have for SHTF because you're going to want to have something that you can have on your person at all times. And that's where the pistol shines, you know. Pistol shines because you can have it on you 24/7. You know, I can put this in a holster on my waist. I can wear it on my chest in a chest holster and pretty much forget about it, you know. And it's light enough where I can have it on me anywhere I go. I can go to the bathroom with it. I can clean dishes with it. I can do different chores with it. And I don't have to really worry about, you know, where my gun is, you know, versus if I'm using like a rifle or a shotgun, you know, like a rifle, whether it's this rifle or AR-15, you know, if let's say I have some chores to do and I put this rifle down, I rest it somewhere, and if this is the only gun I have and I put this rifle somewhere down and then something happens, I don't have a weapon on me, I have to go and retrieve it from wherever I placed this rifle. And another thing about rifles too is that they're large and they're clunky. You know, they take up a lot of space. They fatigue you. You know, even AR-15s. You know, an AR-15 is going to weigh, you know, with optics and a flashlight. You know, your AR-15 or your semi-automatic is going to weigh, you know, around 8 pounds. And it's not a lot of weight, but when you have to carry that all day, you start getting fatigued. And once you start getting fatigued, you have a tendency of wanting to put it down somewhere, you know, rest it against a wall, whatever, because you're starting to get tired from having to carry all that weight on your back all day. You know, so as a result, you have a tendency to want to rest it somewhere. And that's where it gets dangerous, because if you rest your rifle down and you don't have anything else on you, you don't have a pistol, you know, you're gonna be in trouble if something happens. You're gonna have to go and retrieve your rifle from wherever you rested it. Versus the pistol. You know, with the pistol, it's gonna be on me constantly. You know, it's gonna be on my person, on my waist, or, you know, wherever I carry it. It's gonna be everywhere with me because it's light. You know, this pistol only weighs 2.5 pounds. Which is much lighter than the rifle. The rifle's 8 to 10 pounds. You know, like I said, I can keep this on me and forget about it, that it's even there. And same thing with the pistol as with the shotgun and the rifle. You want to make sure you have good sights. You always want to have iron sights on all your SHTF weapons. And I really should have said that about the rifle too, but you want to have night sights. Ideally, like on this pistol here, I had some night sights made. You could see the little dots here. Those dots are actually glow in the dark, so if I shut the light off, these would glow green. They glow by tritium. Tritium is a radioactive element. It's not dangerous to you, but it's radioactive enough to where it will give off a little glow, but it won't give you cancer or anything like that, you know. But you know, so pistol, I would say, is very critical. I've done videos on the importance of having a good pistol. You know, so, and with all these weapons, your rifle, your shotgun, and your pistol, you want to make sure that you have iron sights on all of them, and because if your optic fails, you always want to have a backup, and you want to make sure you have night sights on all your weapons. So like even on my rifle here, even though it's a lever gun, I got a night sight put on it. I have night sights on it. Here's my ghost ring in the rear. I have a ghost ring right here, and then I have a night sight on the front. So you want to have night sights on all your weapons, because if there's a situation where you have to engage a threat at night and it's dark, you may not have your flashlight on you, or your flashlight may be compromised, or your scope may get compromised. If your scope has a red dot, the red dot may break, or you may drop it and the scope will be knocked off of its zero, or you may, whatever, you forgot to change the batteries. So you don't want to rely on your optics for an SHTF weapon. You want to always have a backup sighting system, iron sights. And if you do have an optic, like here on this rifle, I have a quick detach scope ring, and I want to have the quick detach scope ring so I can quickly remove the optic. So if something happens to my optic and it gets compromised, I can quickly take it off, and then I have my iron sights that I can go to. So stay away from any kind of permanent mounts, or mounts that require special tools or wrenches to take off. Those types of scopes are only good for hunting rifles and rifles you're going to use to obtain food, meat. But for tactical weapons, you don't want to have any kind of optic that has a permanent mount or some type of wrench that you need to take it off. You want something quick detaching so you can just break it off if your scope gets compromised. You want to have the ability to rip it off quickly and go right to your iron sights. So I think that pretty much sums up everything for this video. I talked about a lot of things. Actually, I kind of went off on a tangent, but most important thing to remember is you want to have keep it simple. Like I said, you want to have one rifle, one shotgun, and one pistol, and then you can have an optional second rifle for long range situations. But like I said, your rifle, your main tactical rifle, you want to have it set up for close to medium range engagements out to 200 yards. You want to have obviously backup irons and night sights on it. Your tactical shotgun, and then your pistol. And if you have one of those, it's going to be a lot easier for you to train with them and be good with them. Versus having 3 rifles, 2 shotguns, 5 pistols. You're not going to have enough time to train with all of those weapon systems. It's just not possible. You need to pick one rifle, one shotgun, and one pistol, and focus on those guns and get good with them. Spend time at the range with them. Shoot them often. Understand how they work and be familiar with how to fix it, how to fix those weapons. It's just impossible unless your full-time job is being a soldier, and you have all day long to go to the range, and ammo is unlimited, and you don't have to worry about how much ammo you burn through, and you have a range that you can shoot at all day long. Then sure, if you have like 4 or 5 different rifles, that's fine because you have time to train. But for the average Joe, you're not going to have time to practice with 5 different rifles. It's just not possible. And like I said before, if you have too many guns, you're not going to be able to master them all as a civilian. I mean, you could, but it's better to pick one gun for each category, one pistol, one shotgun, one rifle, and be really good with those. Those should be your main weapons that you train with and do different drills with. And so this way you get intimately familiar with them, and you build up your muscle memory. In addition to learning about how they work, you build up the muscle memory, and you get comfortable with how the gun feels in your hands. It becomes an extension of your body, just like when you drive a car and you have your car that you drive every day. You're intimately familiar with your car because you drive it every day. You know how the engine sounds, you know how it feels when you turn the wheel, you know how the brake pressure works, and every car is different, so you go to your friend's car and you've never driven that car before, you're going to feel a little weird because you're used to how your car feels. You're very comfortable with the way your acceleration is, the braking, the lights, everything. But you go into a brand new car and you don't know anything about that car. And it's the same can be said for a firearm. You want to make the firearm an extension of your body, just like with your car. When you drive your car and you're used to your car, it's an extension of your body. You know everything about the car and how it feels when it drives, how the engine sounds. Same thing with your firearm. You want to be very familiar with it, and it's impossible to do that if you have too many guns. I personally have friends of mine that they spend a lot of money on guns, and they don't know how to shoot. They have like multiple guns, 7, 8 guns, 5 or 6 different rifles, but they barely shoot each of those rifles. It's better to have one rifle and be very good with it and shoot it all the time than it is to have 10 rifles and only shoot each of them a handful of times. So keep it simple. One rifle, one shotgun, one pistol, and get very good with them. Spend a lot of time at the range with those rifles that you plan on using for SHTF, and and then also stockpile your ammunition for those guns, and build up your ammunition stores for all those weapons. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, just make sure you train with those guns. One rifle, one shotgun, one pistol. Be very good with them. Spend a lot of time shooting them. Make them an extension of your body. Get comfortable with them, and build up your ammunition supplies for those weapons. And don't focus on having so many different guns, and you got to have the latest and greatest firearm and stuff like that. You have to remember, gun collection is different than self-defense and prepping. It's okay if you like collecting guns and you're a gun enthusiast. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I personally am a gun enthusiast. I have a lot of different weapons that I don't plan to use in SHTF, but you have to remember to separate gun collection from your actual working guns that are going to provide meat for you and your family and are going to protect you and your family. You have to provide a separation between the collection and the working guns. And like I said, with the working guns, keep it simple. One rifle, one shotgun, one pistol, and it'll be much easier for you to master, one rifle, one shotgun, one pistol. It'll be easy for you to become a master at those weapons than it is if you have 5 shotguns, 5 rifles, and 5 pistols. You're not going to know which one to train with. It's impossible to be good at all those weapons, So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. You prepare by storing weapons, ammunition, food, water, supplies. You practice with your weapons and with your supplies, and then once you've prepared and practiced, you're in a good position to persevere through an SHTF situation. And remember too that SHTF is a mental game, so it's not just about how much preparations and practice you've done, but you have to also mentally persevere through the SHTF situation. So remember that, guys. Prepare, practice, and persevere. Alright guys, take care, God bless, and I'll see you soon.